tragic accidents just happen all the time in Carroll County. I'm just saying. It's a very, very unlucky place to live. They dropped the charges because it was accidental. You don't accidentally run over somebody and back up and try to do it again. Let's start from the beginning as investigative reporters, right? So you would ask the questions who, what, where, when, and why. Should be easy, right? Of course it is. Yes, I know, you're innocent until proven guilty, but what good does that do you if you are not alive?
Well, hello, my silky friends, and to my shady enemies, hello to you too, but behave yourself in chat. Okay, yeah, I know already there is a lot of competition tonight, that's okay. I love my replay crew, I really, really do. Let me start by saying a good evening. Can y'all hear me okay? I don't know if I'm using a different mic. Tell me if it sounds better, worse, too low, too high, whatever. Of course, I haven't gotten all worked up yet, so we'll see what happens. Hello, Honey Bun. Hello, Samantha Springman. Ham Frenchman, good to see you. Yoli Yo. I love it. Yoli, hello. Hell to the no. That's a great name too. Love that. Hello to you, Balanced Jade. Hello. Good evening. Oh my gosh. I did not even. I forgot about Nightbot. Oh no. Okay, I'm just gonna tell y'all right now. If you put a lot of emojis, and I love emojis, Nightbot doesn't like them. I don't know what his problem is. You know, just like a man, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, good. I'm glad it sounds good. And this one actually works a little bit better for me. So, let me just tell you right now, I was just literally a minute ago on Cold Truth's live. She's live with Crime Geek. And, you know, if you don't, let me just say, there's a lot of changing in the creator world, and Cold Truth is really bringing up some very important issues with a certain somebody, and I'm just going to tell you, you need to go and watch it. If you don't know what's going on with Crime Geek, if you don't know that story, and why is it so important now? Well, let me tell you. Because, you know, we've had, I'm going to do a video or a live. I'm going to call it the Delphi Circus, because that is what, y'all, it seems like to me. These days, it is nothing but a circus show in the courtroom. Hello, Linda K. How are you? But yeah, okay, so the last dog drops last week, and I was going to read them, but by the time that I could schedule myself to read them out for y'all, everybody else had already done it. So, you know, but y'all usually hear my opinions whether I read any documents or not. So, yeah, that is, but if you were looking at, I think it's isn't it the motion to compel? There was some stuff, in there, and I don't want to say too much because I still haven't read it. but basically they have some evidence that the defense has some evidence that they have not had time to process. Now, right after I got off my live last night, I got a phone call from a very good friend, sweet angel person, and we talked for 2 hours. And in that, I learned a lot of stuff. Woo! Behind the scenes stuff. Hopefully it will come out in court. However, with it not having time to process, it makes me wonder, are we gonna have a trial the end of May, or are they gonna have to postpone it a little bit? And I know we're sick of the postponements and all that stuff, but I'm telling you, if the evidence that they have been trying to keep back and this new evidence that is behind the scenes, it will be well worth it. Okay, it's well worth the wait. So if that happens, y'all don't get your panties in a wad, because we're all about due process here. So anyway, yeah, let me kind of tell you where I'm going with this. First of all, let me ask you all, before we get, waist deep in the water here with what we're looking at tonight. Pam, it's okay, Pam. What was your biggest takeaway? Let's talk about the doc drops, because I didn't talk about it last week. Had too many things that I had to do. It's okay, Pam. Yeah. Catch us on the replay. You have company. It's all right. It's Friday night. Hey, I know a lot of people have plans and they're doing stuff. I do not, because I have to work all weekend. So, here I am. But I want to tell you something. There is nowhere I would rather be than with you all. That is very sincere. I mean it. I love y'all to pieces. Hello, Tom Campbell. What case are we discussing? Idaho? No Idaho tonight. We're discussing a little bit of Delphi, but mostly we are discussing the situation in Indiana. And when I say situation, we're talking about the wrongful convictions. All right, because in this Delphi case, we have so many people arguing, fighting, a lot of people saying, hey, there is no way, the law enforcement's involved. They're not, suppressing evidence. Richard Allen's guilty, blah, blah, blah. And I just started thinking, I wonder how often this happens in Indiana. So I started just Googling, This was last week. I started looking at stuff and I was like, oh my. We seem to have a problem here. Now, let me say I'm not picking on Indiana, because it happens everywhere. All right? And I'm just going to tell you, as far as prison systems go, and I don't work in the prison. Remember, I do work in a jail, but not in the prison. Completely different. All right? Man, when I started looking a few months ago into Alabama prisons, we're like the number one for inmate passing away, in bad ways. Like, it's really, really, our jail system is horrendous. So don't think that I'm just picking on Indiana. However, I thought what we should do is kind of see what is setting a precedence around here. What else has been going on in Indiana that we know about? Okay, these are cases that have been overturned, or people have, so we're not talking about all of the cases that haven't been overturned, or where the evidence is faulty because there was some kind of shady stuff going on. So let's take a look at this and we will compare kind of the same. Is it happening in Delphi? But first of all, let me ask you, what were your biggest takeaways? All right, did you watch? So many creators covered it last week. The 2 doc drops, the the two things that I was talking about. Was there anything that really stood out, really made you mad, really made you think? Did anything change your opinion? Or did it just make you, kind of dig your heels in more? I want to know. It's okay. Look, people have stuff. It's all right, Tom. Yeah, by all means, catch the replay. Like I said, it's Friday night. Most people have plans. Dress shopping for the prom. Oh my gosh. I tell y'all, if you watched the times that I changed this live, like I needed to go live. I have to get up at 4 a.m. So I needed to go live early, get it over, get myself where I can actually go to sleep. And then my daughter came in and she wanted to take some senior pictures, like with her friends. And look, I didn't know. So when she told me, what the timeline was, I'm like, I'll never make it back in time to go live at 6. So I changed to 7. And then, it was just the conditions surrounding the area that we needed to take the pictures in was just not good today. So we all came back and I'm like, okay, I'm not bipolar, y'all. I'm just saying, my time went from 6 to 7 to 6, like whatever. I would go later on Fridays because I know y'all have plans, but I personally can't on Fridays. Fridays are usually a impossible day for me. Honey Bun, you are from Indiana too. All right. Yeah. Again, I'm not hating on Indiana. I really don't feel one way or another about Indiana. I've been through Indiana hundreds of times in my life. I don't feel one way or another. Except when it comes to the area around Carroll County. That part of Indiana. Yeah. Hello, Keith Kellogg. Good to see ya. All right. So nobody has anything that they thought about the court motions last week. Like I said, if you're just coming in and catching up, the things that I learned last night, I was like, oh my gosh, holy Moses. I hope this comes out into court. So if they need some extra time to gather evidence or whatever they need, I think the person I was talking to said they explained it best on Defense Diaries, and I can't remember what she told me what motion that was, but I can't remember now. Anyway, go check it out. And once again, if you have not checked out the live that is going on tonight with Cold Truth and Crime Geek, you're really, really gonna be interested, because this could potentially come up in regards to Delphi, and that's all I'm going to tell you. But it's really important. It's stuff I've known for a long time, but it's not always out there. And if you watch it, you'll understand why people are very reluctant to talk about it. Okay, Kellogg, you found 300 mushrooms. Like, are they wild mushrooms? I mean, are they like the eating kind of mushrooms? I love mushrooms. By the way, I love mushrooms. Anyway, even raw. But I don't pick them out in the wild because, like, even experts can get confused. And, I'm not trying to unalive myself here. All right. So, we are going to start talking about some cases. Again, I was looking at stuff and I'm like, okay, you know how you look at the Stephen Avery case in Wisconsin and you're like, how did this ever happen? How did he ever get convicted? How did he, like, I don't understand. Well, that's kind of that's kind of like some of these cases. And we're going to start, let me change this up a little bit. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? There we go. All right, I'm not going to be able to see your comments for just a few minutes while I read this because my screen, I need a humongous screen to see this. All right, but we are talking about, and again, all these cases are in Indiana. Wrongly convicted man receives $7.5 million settlement in Indiana. Wow. So, it says in 2018, the South Bend Tribune and ProPublica reported on one major flaw in a prosecution in Elkhart, Indiana. Years later, the city expressed regret and agreed to pay the man millions. Now, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say the reason they expressed regret is because they knew they were going to have to pay millions. Maybe they were really sorry. I don't know. So now we are talking about Keith Cooper. Keith Cooper was actually not only exonerated, but he was pardoned by Governor Eric Holcomb in 2017. But he spent more than 8 years in prison after being wrongly convicted of an armed robbery in Elkhart. All right, let me go on down because it talks about the case, but let's go down to the details. Oh, and look, I love it when, don't you love it when, you're just trying to read an article, you get something stupid, so y'all get to look at a toilet bowl. I have no idea. I don't have no idea what this is about, okay? Sorry for the toilet. Kind of fits the case, though, doesn't it? All right, on October 29th, 1996, police were called to a housing project in Elkhart where 17-year-old Michael Kirshner had been shot and nearly unalived. Friends and family of Kirshner's said two black men, one short and one tall, had forced their way into his apartment, and the tall suspect shot the teenager during a struggle. Cooper and Parrish were charged in the crime after witnesses identified them as suspects from photo arrays. Cooper was identified as the taller of the suspects and the alleged shooter. Both men were convicted. Cooper in 1997 of robbery and Parrish in 1998 of robbery and attempted murder. Oh, there's that word that I'm not supposed to say. Yeah. I get the really crappy commercials now. Oh, it is what it is. I do it every single time. Every single time. Cooper was sentenced to 40 years, Parrish to 30. All right. Cooper's suit claimed that Elkhart police, now this is important, they claimed that Elkhart police officials, including Detective Steve Rizutko, I'm guessing on this, I'm sorry, framed the men. What? The police framed? No. Y'all, the police are there to protect and serve. They wouldn't do such a thing, right? Wow. Mercy. I'm shocked and appalled. Okay, they claimed that he framed the men through false witness statements and unduly suggestive photo lineups. What? Eyewitnesses who testified at Cooper's trial later recanted and said they had been manipulated by Rizutko into implicating Cooper. Additionally, an investigation done in the years after Cooper's trial concluded that DNA obtained from the shooter's hat matched a man who had been convicted of a 2002 murder in Benton Harbor, Michigan, and then sent to prison. Well, wait a second. Okay, so there was DNA from somebody. Okay. But now y'all got somebody else in the prison right now. Let's read on. In 2005, a state appeals court threw out Parrish's conviction Afterward, a judge offered Cooper a choice. Oh, isn't that nice? The judge could overturn Cooper's conviction, allowing for a possible retrial, or modify Cooper's sentence, allowing Cooper to be released immediately. Okay, we kind of saw this. If you have watched the West Memphis 3 and all of the years and years and years of stuff that has been gone back and forth in this, that's kind of what some of them did. They're like, Cooper chose the sentence modification and was freed in April 2006. Now, what happens when they modify the sentence? They cut the time down, so you've already been there. All right, it's not like the court is saying that you're innocent. They're just saying, okay, time served. We're going to modify this, or we can have another trial. Well, you don't want to go through another trial. What if it ends up the same way? Okay. It's not a win situation, except that you are not in prison. I mean, I guess that is the biggest win, but as far as getting your life back, this is not a win. Though he was no longer in prison, Cooper was not exonerated of the robbery. So in 2009, he filed a petition for a pardon. In 2014, the Indiana Parole Board voted unanimously in Cooper's favor and forwarded its recommendation to then Governor Mike Pence. Why do I hear that name a lot? If you know, you know. If you don't look. Don't look. But for nearly 3 years, Pence allowed the recommendation to sit, taking no action. What you doing, Mike? Sitting there in your governor's seat. The parole board has already said, hey, we need to exonerate this guy. Clearly, he was not guilty. But let's just let it sit there and collect dust. Because it doesn't affect you, does it? I'm a little spicy tonight. But for 3 years it sits. He takes no action. Pence's successor, Holcomb, issued the pardon in 2017, 1 month after taking office. Wow. I guess he was just like moving in, cleaning out his desk, getting out the pledge and, that fresh lemony smell. Just, this smells good. Let me clean this desk. What is this crap sitting over here in the corner? Let me dust it off. Oh my goodness. This is a recommendation for a pardon. How did that just end up under that great big pile of books that nobody reads? Well, Pence must have just overlooked it. Oh my, let's rectify this. Do y'all think that's how it happened? Because I don't. Alright, so Cooper is the first Indiana man to win a pardon based on actual innocence. Wow. I'm sure there's a lot of actual innocence, but let's go on. Because, it really does make me angry. Just a little bit. Through the discovery process in the case, Cooper and his attorneys also learned that Rizzuto had been forced to resign from the Elkhart Police Department in 2001 because of inappropriate physical misconduct with an informant. Really? Wow. What a great officer that is. The department did not disclose until January 2019 that the detective had been accused of paying an informant for his pleasure. Rizzuto unalived himself a month after those records were disclosed. Now, I am sorry for that, okay? I'm sorry to the family. However, guess who I'm also sorry for? I'm also sorry for Cooper's family. I am also sorry for everyone involved in this. And look, so I'm going back up here for just a second, because again, let's look at what did this guy do besides taking a pleasure cruise while on duty? Let's see. The Elkhart Police Department did tell Mr. Cooper that we're sorry. We're so sorry. Well, you know, when you're sitting in jail for 8 years, sorry doesn't cut it. All right. I'm trying to find it again. He framed them. Okay, Rizzuto, not just... Okay, it's one thing, because we will see a case a little bit later on where the wrongfully convicted felt like it wasn't a... he feels like it was just not on purpose, like they didn't do this to hurt him, or, you know, for nefarious reasons, that he feels like it was something else altogether, even though it happened. This guy, Rizzuto, he literally framed the two guys through false witness statements and unduly suggestive photo lineups. Basically, they put him in the lineup, and, you know, the people that recanted later, they said, you know, I really didn't think it was him, but there was such pressure from the police to say, yes, this is the guy in the lineup. This is the guy. Isn't this the guy? He's positioned just like the you know, whatever. So why do people do this? My question. Is it, what do you all think? Hold on, I'm gonna jump back to your comments. Are the police just lazy? Like, are they just lazy? Do they just want to solve this case, get it off of their desk? Or is this out of spite, out of meanness, out of whatever that goes on with people? I mean, at this point, I don't even know. Let's see. Okay, I haven't been up here in a while. Y'all are still talking about mushrooms when I left. So Indiana, what is this about Indiana and mushrooms? Indiana has some great mushrooms. Oh, wow. Well, cheers to Indiana and your mushrooms. I love them. Exactly, Keith Kellogg. This is the problem. Putting innocent people in prison. This seems to be a trend. You know, just like Alabama, we like to unalive ours in prison. Angie Gibson, greetings from Oregon. Well, hello, Angie. Oregon, that is one beautiful state. Hello, SM. Good to see ya. I agree, Keith. The prosecutors, I can't even say the prosecutors. Maybe some of them, but definitely the people who are investigating this and reporting false things, they definitely need to spend some time in prison, in my opinion. Okay. Oh yeah. You walked in on the toilet picture. Sorry, SM. Yeah. You never know. You never know with these ads. And the thing is, you know what I just realized? Oh my God, I just thought about this. Because I got some kind of... Remember last week when I was showing an article? It was the weirdest products. I don't even know. But then I just remembered, you know, they tailor this to us. You know, they throw those ads on there. They have those bots that throw the ads on. And I haven't been searching toilets. I really have no idea what they feel like. I needed to see one. I don't even know what it was about. Is that like a statement on my channel? I don't know. It just struck me though. Okay. You're right. No normal human would put an innocent man in a cage. Wow. Samantha, you know what? I had never thought of it like that. But you're right. Prisons in Indiana equal new slavery plantations. Wow. Wow. That's something else. That's really kind of disturbing, right? Hello, Divine Light. Good to see you. You're new here, interested in the subject. Okay, well, come on in, grab a chair, a cup of tea, whatever. And, yeah, we'll look at a couple of cases, and especially because of what is going on in the Delphi trial to come. Due process. This is my favorite. I don't care if you're in chat, if you think Richard Allen is guilty or innocent. That is not even what I'm talking about. I'm talking about due process and getting the right person in prison, right? All right, so $7.5 million they had to pay out for this. Let's see. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Keith. There is a lot of people out there that need to be, a lot of criminals that need to be out, stopped, that are out there currently, that need to be in jail. All right, let me, go to, let's see, is that the one I was just at? Yeah, no. Okay. All right, let's look at another case. Again, I can't see your comments right now, so. Man, this one really upset me, okay? This one really got to me even more. Not that the other one didn't bother me, but, man, this really did remind me of Stephen Avery and Brendan. What was Brendan's last name? Brendan. Well, y'all know who I'm talking about. All right. So, judge dismisses M charge, unaliving, red rum charge against Exoneration Justice Clinic client Andy Royer. So, we're talking about Andy Royer. Okay. Look down to the second paragraph. For years, Royer said that police had exploited his mental disability to coerce him into making a false confession in a 2002 unaliving case in Elkhart, Indiana. What? Elkhart? Didn't we just talk about Elkhart? How close is that to Carroll County? All right, I don't know anything about Indiana, by the way. Royer is the first client of Notre Dame's law school. Is that how you say it? That's how we say it in Alabama, because we used to play them. We don't play them. Football. That's how we say it. I know in Europe it's Notre Dame, but how y'all say that? I don't know. Anyway, with their new Exoneration Justice Clinic, he was the first person to be exonerated. All right. Let's talk about his case, because this is like quotes of, how he felt, and how it goes through. This is by, I didn't even read the top of the article. Anyway, you can, when you go back and you look at it, you'll see where this article comes from. And it's talking about the process, really. But let's see, what was he actually charged with? Because this is talking about, oh my goodness. Hold on, let me get back. Okay. Royer spent 16 years in prison after he was wrongfully convicted in the, how do I say this for YouTube? In the unaliving of an elderly woman due to hands around the neck. Is that okay to say? Who lived in his apartment building. So basically, all right, he was, and he does have, let me go back and Throughout his prison sentence, he maintained that Elkhart police had taken advantage of his disability in order to confuse him and pressure him into falsely stating that he committed the crime. Again, this Dassey, that's his name, Brendan Dassey. Remember in the Stephen Avery case, if you didn't see it on Netflix, like, oh my God, you know, everybody went down the rabbit hole a few years ago when that came out. And then there was a second part. I just couldn't do the other one. I got too mad at the first one. But if you remember, it was a hot mess with Stephen Avery and what they did to him. But regardless of how you feel about Avery, Brendan Dassey was his relative. Was he a relative or a neighbor? I think he's a relative. Anyway, he is very he's very childlike. And they literally kept him in interrogation for hours and hours and hours. They were not going to let him go until he confessed that he and Stephen, unalive Teresa, is it Halbach? Something like that. It's a shame, really, that I can remember all these names of crimes and cases, and I cannot remember to take the garbage out on the correct day each week. I don't know what that says about me. I'm just saying. I have a head full of knowledge. It's just not always practical. Are y'all that way? Okay, so anyway, yeah, for all these years, he was in there, and look, they just pressured him because, you know what? He lived in the building. He lived in the building with this elderly woman. She was found unalived, and you know what? They didn't have a good suspect. So they're like, oh, it had to be you. It had to be you, right? And he was I'm trying to remember because I read a lot of articles on him, but I chose this one, and I'm not seeing the age. But he was in prison for 18 years of his life. Wow. So basically, they found out after this agency or this group, the Exoneration Justice Clinic, after they took his case and they started looking into it, they're like, you know what? He was coerced. He didn't do this. And so there you go. Another one that they just want to sweep it under the rug. All right? They want to solve these crimes. But apparently doing it correctly is not something that they necessarily feel like is that important. Okay? Truth is not that important. What's important is we make the community feel good and we make the police look good. But as for, is it really the truth and is that really the person? No. Well, here's the problem with that, sir. If you have the wrong person in prison, then the guilty person is running around on the streets being a menace and a threat to everyone else. Why can we not just get this right the first time, okay? Take a little bit longer. Think. Work a little bit harder. Find the right person. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let me go back up to here. So we have 2 cases from Elkhart. Wow. Oh, let's see what Samantha says. Elkhart is about 45 minutes drive from Carroll County. Oh my gosh, I am so shocked. So it's like right there in the area. Wow. Yeah, I am just shocked to my very core that there could be such corruption in Elkhart County, unlike Carroll County, who is so above board. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yes, it is awful, Balance Jade. You're right. People who have power and money don't waste time or emotions being compassionate to strangers. That is so true. That's so true. I can't wrap my head personally around this, around people who who are not moved by the suffering of other people. And to be honest with you, I guess probably most people on this planet are not. However, I don't compute, okay? It's like the computer in my head starts smoking and it starts crunching the hard drive, okay? I do not understand this phenomenon about how you can do something to some other person, and especially, I mean, in general, but especially when you are going to cause them to go to prison and you don't care. You can still sit down and have dinner with your family and celebrate holidays, and you don't even think about it. You don't even worry about the person that you framed or you pressured or whatever that is sitting in prison now, wrongfully convicted. Like, you just sleep like, you know, like the little Lunesta butterfly lands on your face and you just knocked out and you're happy. Like, is this how... Somebody explain to me, okay? Because I don't get it. Somebody explain to me how people are able to do this, because I don't know. I just don't know. Yes, he is intellectually disabled, and that is something else. I don't know what his exact diagnosis is, but it's very... My understanding is it's kind of in the same vein as Brendan Dassey. So, I mean, okay, so now we know these cases have been overturned. These people got exonerated. One got a pardon. But for every person that is wrongfully convicted and that gets exonerated, how many are still sitting there in prison? Now, I know off the top of my head, stats are at least 25% of people who are in jail or prison are not guilty of what they are accused of. 25%? I mean, that's a pretty big number. That means if 4 of us are in the room, one of us is going to be wrongfully... Let's say 4 criminals are in the room. I'm in there with 3 of my criminal buddies. One of us, or maybe we're all innocent. Yeah, that was the way it would be. Sorry about that. I can't think. One of us is going to be wrongfully convicted of a crime that we didn't commit. Wow, that's a little scary. Go out with your friends to dinner. 1 out of the 4 of you in the table. Sorry, buddy. You know, we'll write you a letter. We'll send you socks at Christmas if you're allowed to get socks, I guess. You know, we need more moral women with logical thinking in the top echelon. Yes, we do. Hey, you know what? I'm not even going to say. I do believe that there should be more women. And that's not casting any shade on men, really. I very much respect the way that they think, as opposed to women, because we do tend to be a little emotional. However, male or female, the problem with this whole statement is moral. That's the word, Linda Kay. That is the big problem in the whole world. I would say this country, I would say Indiana, but in the whole world, the moral factor. It seems to be, I think one day, scientists are going to realize that there is part of our DNA that has a moral code, and some people don't have it. Like, they're just born without it. Let's see, Keith, when you put an innocent man in prison, you do 2 wrongs: putting innocent man in prison and letting the criminals stay on the street. Exactly. You're not... Hey, police people, law enforcement, you're not doing the public a favor when you put the wrong person in jail, because the criminal is out still criminaling. I know, that's not a word. I just made it up because I wanted to. And it felt right at the moment. So I like to make up words. Anyway, yeah, you're making things worse, because now whatever crime they committed, the chances are they're going to commit it again. So if they're out there breaking into houses and robbing people or burglarizing people and this family suffers loss. You put the wrong person in jail, the criminal is going to do it again, hurt another one and another one and another one. Come on. Like, do you really just want to close a case that bad? Samantha says, Silky, the swamp of corruption in Indiana is bigger than people realize. Oh my gosh. Samantha, I wish you could have been in the conversation that I had with someone who I cannot disclose last night for a very long time about the state of Indiana and how far up it goes. I was like, wow. I mean, I'm not shocked. It's something that I pretty much knew, but it's like, but it's putting the pieces together. Okay, it's putting the names and the faces and the actual circumstances that have not been dealt with or have been dealt with incorrectly. I was like, if I did not believe in a God who could fix this, I don't think I could. I don't even think I'd want to live anymore. I can't stand to live in a world of people as they are now. Random Christian musings. Silky Southern Tea. Satan itself isn't concerned with the suffering. Well, that's true. Not concerned with the sufferings of others, for sure. There is no compassion there. Yeah, people are just in all about their self. You're right, Samantha. Growing in their power and their money. Let's see. Yeah, the good old boys club. Again, all that stuff. All of it. All right, I am going to show you a video, I think, this time. Let me go back to this. And here's another guy. Now I looked at his story. And honestly, of all of this, hello, Sherry Faye. Of all of the people in this situation, I think that he has a better outlook than most. I can tell you for one thing, he has a way better outlook on his time, spent than I would, without a doubt. All right, let me see if I can get this to play.
Who killed Casey Shane? The 25-year-old man was shot 5 times in Indianapolis while sitting in his truck 24 years ago. His case getting new attention now as the man first convicted was set free. Casey's family wants to know, will anyone be held accountable? Leon Benson spent almost 25 years in prison at Pendleton, convicted of Casey's murder, but last week he was exonerated from murder. His case overturned. Police had the wrong man. Leon Benson is here live with us this morning to talk about his story, his case. Leon, thank you so much for being with us this morning. I want to start with, it's been less than 2 weeks that you walked out of that Pendleton prison with a bag of clothes. How do you describe to people where you're at today and how you feel?
Well, hey, thank you for having me, Angela. The feelings are very surreal. They're visceral. It's hard to really put it all in words, but I can tell you overall, I'm just ecstatic and I feel blessed. I feel so blessed to finally walk out of that place after 25 years.
25 years.
10 years, I believe you were in solitary confinement. I know your team of attorneys included those from the Racial Justice Clinic at the University of San Francisco School of Law and the newly founded Marion County Conviction Integrity Unit. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about the evidence, or what was it that finally, after all these years, was the key to actually getting you to be able to walk free?
It was the detective, the lead detective in the case, Alan Jones. He withheld crucial evidence, exculpatory evidence, that pointed to my innocence. It pointed to the direction of another suspect, and it just corroborated with all the other evidence that was available to the state and to the police department of my innocence.
Leon, when we've talked a couple of times on the phone, and I asked you, how do you stay grounded or where you're at today without being angry? And what is your message now, and what is your hope as people learn more about your story and they hear what happened to you? What do you want them to know?
Well, when you go through something like 25 years of incarceration, 10 years in solitary, all the letdowns, the ups and the downs, the stress, you come in terms with a lot of things. So I'm living like I died before. And when I say that, I mean, I'm not taking nothing for granted. Nothing, nobody, my grandkids, my family, my legacy, my vision. And it's bigger than me too. It's bigger than Leon Benson. You have other individuals who are wrongfully incarcerated. One like Royal Amos, currently in Indiana, he's innocent, and many others. So we got to look at the bigger issue of what's really going on with the system. It's systemic, and we need to come together as a community and common unity. That common unity should be justice and humanity, because we have to live here in America, in Indianapolis, in Detroit, in these neighborhoods and communities together. So we need to come together as a community and reduce and stop this injustice.
Yeah, I know you obviously know deeply what it feels like to suffer. And Casey Shane's family, they've reached out to me knowing that I was going to talk to you today, knowing that now there is a killer out there that was never held accountable for what happened to their son. I wondered if you, knowing what you went through and suffered, and now how I know you can feel for their family for not having anyone held accountable, what would you say to them, or would you say anything to them?
Definitely. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I understand that they were let down by the system, or by our public servants that was supposed to serve and protect them. I apologize out of empathy and sympathy for their suffering. And, you know, I hope justice can prevail for Casey Shane. He's a brother to me. I sat for 25 years with the spirit of Casey heavy on my conscience and my heart, because I know that if I'm in prison suffering, how is he suffering in the spiritual sense? So my heart definitely go out to the Shane family, and all victims of violent crimes and murders that's out there. My heart go out to all of you guys.
Leon, I'm out of time right now. We didn't get to talk about what is next for you. I know that you have music coming out, and I know also right now you don't have, people want to know if you have millions of dollars. You left with basically a bag of clothes. So that's to come. We'll put people in touch with more on your story and how they can help. I wish we had more time to talk, but I just really appreciate you being with us and letting us know what happened to you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much, Angela.
Yeah, Leon, thank you. I also want to let you know that I reached out to the Marion County prosecutor for comment on the status of any investigation or potential investigating into the murder of Casey Shane. I will let you know if and when I get any new information. His family reached out to me and wanted to share this photo. Casey Shane killed all of those decades ago, and still the person who killed him not held accountable. We'll have much more after the break.
Okay, so yeah. You can see, hold on. You can see, but I can't see anything. Yeah, so that is the case of Leon Benson, and he does have music out. I did invite him to come on this show, but I have not heard back from him. So I did want to talk to him and let him tell his story, because what happened in that case, and I think the reporter called him Casey Shane. I don't really know how you pronounce that last name. But he was sitting in a car on a street, and someone came and shot him, unalived him right there on the street. Now, there was a person who was a witness to this. They were delivering papers, I think. But as it turns out, they couldn't see. You know, you get the person who really has terrible eyesight, can't really identify. But what they did see is they saw an African American, but with very dark skin, that was the perpetrator. Now, as you can see, Leon Benson is not a very dark-skinned person. So, you know, and then all of this evidence, they really didn't have that much evidence, to be honest with you. It was based on the testimony of an eyewitness who couldn't see. Like, really. When you look into it, it's like, how on God's earth did they ever get a conviction? And so he spent 25 years in prison. And, you know, of course, he was eventually exonerated. But you can look at, he's got several videos and interviews and stuff on YouTube. You can go check out his music, check out his story. It is. Let's see. You're right. Amazing how he doesn't have hate in him. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I would like to say that I would feel the same. Maybe I would. Maybe after that much time, maybe I would have gotten over it. After 25 years, he had pretty much given up hope of ever getting out. Yeah, of course. Of course you would. I don't know. That could be it. I don't know. I was really just kind of interested in of course not going into anything that would harm a case, but how the events leading up to it, what happened, how the evidence in the trial, how did they even get a conviction? Because now, unless they had other stuff or other witnesses, which I didn't see when I researched the case, that's basically all I saw is a very unreliable. And look, let me say this. We all know from studying, because you're true crime addicts like I am, we know that witness testimony is notoriously unreliable. And I think I said this in one of my other videos like months ago. I have taken those tests, online. I think YouTube has some. Okay, they're going to see how reliable a witness you are. So they have you watch this video clip. And I've watched it and I've thought, I know exactly what happened. Like, I saw everything. And then when they go back and they re-show it again, and you have to answer, you think about the way that you answered the questions, I was like, man. And I was really paying attention. Like, I was really looking, and I got so many of these things wrong. It really, and can you imagine that you're not expecting a crime? You're not really hyper-focused. You're just sitting somewhere and you see somebody running out of the bank and they've got a weapon in their hand and a bag of cash, and you see somebody running across the street and get into a car. You kind of at that moment probably know, oh, something, that don't look good. But you're not hyper-focused on it. So, the one test, oh my God, y'all have never seen this video, and I guess I'm gonna give away the whole thing now, but it's really, maybe do it on somebody else. Find the video and have somebody else who you think is really observant watch this video. But it starts out with, it says, okay, watch this video, and these people are in a circle and they're like bouncing a basketball around to them, and they're like, there's something you're supposed to count. It's like how many people bounced the ball who had black shorts on. Okay, it was something like that. And so you're counting like the times that the ball bounces, who passes it, and you're watching all this, and I'm like, okay, I have got this number down. I know exactly, how many people with black shorts touched that ball. Okay. Well, I might have been right. I don't know. But that wasn't the point. Because in the meantime, while you are watching this ball and counting the black shorts or whatever it is, a gorilla walks into the crowd, goes in and out of that circle of people, walks right through, and you get to the end of the video, okay, they're like, okay, did you see the gorilla? What? Are you... No. Gorilla? I went back and watched the video, and I'm like, well, I'd be dadgummed. There is a gorilla in that video, and you never see it. Like, if you are concentrating on your task, literally a gorilla can walk in front of you and you won't see it. That was very eye-opening to me and very disturbing. But it really hit home to me how unreliable witnesses are. And so, fast forward to the Delphi case. We have witnesses all over the place. Poofy hair, this age, that age. We've got two main sketches of the perpetrator, or the supposed perpetrator. Don't even get me started on the whole chain of events and time of day. I'm over it. Okay, y'all know how I feel. Go back and watch some other videos. It's a mess. It just doesn't make sense. But even if it did, we've got two completely different sketches, and lo and behold, did y'all know those aren't the only sketches? All right, we've been presented with two, but there's actually like 3 or 4 sketches based on eyewitnesses. And let me tell you something, none of them look alike. None. Not even close. You're all like, huh? This don't look like that one, or that one, or that one. Like, who are these people, and what did they see? Now, does each one of them look like somebody who has been a suspect in people's minds? Yeah, sure. But there was one man on the bridge, they say. So why do we have 4 different pictures? It's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. That is too funny. Lots of gorillas in Delphi. Oh, that is for sure. They walked right past law enforcement on February 13th and 14th, didn't they? Yeah. So now look, it's obvious that there is a problem in that area of people, law enforcement. And why do you think? Okay, I don't know, but my theory on why law enforcement gets away with this and why they keep perpetrating these false witnesses, coercion, basically forcing people to testify to a crime they didn't commit. The reason I think they do it is, and I hate to say this, but I think it's laziness. I think it's laziness. It's convenience. They don't want to go out to the diner and have people constantly ask them all the time, well, what about this? Have you caught this person yet? They're going to be asked all the time, how's the case coming? I'm scared. I'm locking my door at night. Whatever, because I'm in fear that we have a criminal on the loose, whatever kind. And so I think a lot of them are just like, hey, you know what? We've got to arrest somebody for this crime. It sure took them a long time in Delphi, but I feel like that's why they do it. Partial laziness and just trying to get the case closed. Get it off the desk. Let's be done with it. Once they arrest somebody, it's really off their shoulders. Doesn't matter to the police. They present somebody. Okay, here's the evidence we have. We think it's him. We arrested him. Now, it's somebody else's problem to defend him and to prove that I'm wrong. You know? Greg Baker. Just stupidity. It could be. It could be. You know, I love law enforcement. I really do. I know I'm always dissing on them here, but I work with law enforcement. They have a tough job. I really do love them. I do support them. I do back the blue. However, that being said, it doesn't take a lot of schooling, all right? It doesn't take a real high education to become a police officer. Not to say that there aren't some very good, very intelligent investigators and people who are top notch in law enforcement. It's kind of like, you know, anywhere else. I mean, let me just bring this down to medical, okay? And I will say this. I have known a lot of doctors, I mean true MDs, who are dumber than a box of rocks. I mean, seriously. There were many times when I was in the hospital that a doctor would look at me and say, and give me an order to do something that I knew it was going to kill the patient. And I would look at him and say, no. And they would be like, you have to, this is an order. And I'm like, well, then you go do it, because I'm not gonna do it. You want it done? Go in that room and do it yourself, because I'm not losing my license over this, because that's going to kill him. And, you know, that's the thing. Honestly, even a higher education doesn't make you smart. It means you managed to get through medical school somehow, some way. But yeah, so there's a lot of stupidity in all professions. But it's so I mean, I'm not saying they're all stupid. I do know some. I hate to say it. I do know some LEs that are not the brightest bulbs in the pack. But then again, I know some really, really brilliant ones. So there you go. I do think, Keith, it is convenient. I think that is a big thing. You had two uncles that were cops. Wow. Well, good. Let's see. When you drive past $250,000 homes where city cops, yeah, live routinely, you might just want to start asking some questions. Yeah. You know what? I will be the first one to say this. Law enforcement of any kind do not get paid nearly enough. Like, it is embarrassingly low for what law enforcement does and how they have to, they risk their lives on the daily to get paid nothing, compared to, you know, a lot of jobs that are way less meaningful. So, are they underpaid? Yes. Being that they are that underpaid, when they are living the high life in very large homes, and yeah, you gotta ask some questions. Where are you getting the money for that mortgage, buddy? It ain't adding up. It ain't mathin'. And I'm not the biggest math person. I can do, like, you know, I go up to like algebra 3 and then I'm out. Don't be giving me trigonometry and, you know, like, no. I'm done. Hello, Professor Pug. Good to see you. I hate that I missed the end of Cold Truth, but I had already scheduled this and rescheduled it and rescheduled again. I'm like, I can't do it again. I've got to go on. But yeah, you have to ask these questions, because where are you getting the money? All right. Do they deserve more? Yes. But that's like, okay. Is that not a red flag? Because it is to me. I know what you make. How you affording this house? Did you come into some money somehow? And I will just tell you, I think that also, and this is just my opinion, allegedly, it is my opinion that that could play a part in the Delphi case, and it could play a part in reasons that elements of that crime are covered up. And I have said that many, go back and watch. I've said it many, many times. But yeah, Keith, I would love for you to tell me a crazy story about one of your cop uncles. I'm all about some crazy stories now. I love them. Okay, so what do y'all think? Did you know, let me ask you first, did you know about these cases? Had you heard, especially those of you who are familiar with or live in Indiana, did you know these? Because, I had never actually heard them before. I've heard many stories I've listened to of the wrongfully convicted. But it's so strange to me that two of these big cases were in Elkhart, which, like you said, 45 minutes from, Carroll County, from Delphi. So I'm thinking of cities that are 45 minutes from me, and I would, I don't live in those towns, but they are close enough that I'll tell you this, there's one certain city that when I go to Nashville or Hendersonville or wherever I'm going, like out of state, and it's a 3-4 hour drive, when I get back to a certain city, which is 45 minutes to an hour away from me, when I pull into that city, I'm like, I'm home. I'm home. And I'm not home. I'm an hour from home. But to me, that's how close. You run at 45 minutes, it's nothing. You want to go to a bigger place, you want to go to a certain store. Look, 45 minutes is nothing. And especially when you're talking about judges and law enforcement and people who know people who have connections. Jeez, it might as well be next door. Come on. I believe if RICO warrants started being served, both Delphi and Flora would be solved correctly. You know what? I agree. The only problem is when you start with that, I think you're going to have to start with a clean slate of LE. Who's going to serve those warrants who's not guilty? My question. Of something. Let's see. Pictures. What are we talking about, Samantha? I missed. Let me go back here and see what you're saying. Oh, pictures of the houses? I don't doubt it. I really don't. I have seen that. There are some people that I know that are in law enforcement who are driving like really high dollar vehicles. How are you affording that? I can't afford that. I mean, chances are I make more. I'm not getting rich. I'm telling you that. But as a nurse, I do okay. I'm like, I can't afford that. How are you affording that? I basically know what you make. Hope you checked out my cookum. I want to tell you I did. Did you email that to me, Keith? I think I did check that out. Was that before? It's like ringing a bell up here in my head. Was that before we started all the search stuff in Nashville and Hendersonville? Because anything prior to that I had on my personal docket of things I was going to cover, like it went out the window. I've got tons of stuff of emails I've got to look at again. Did you email? Just let me know if you emailed it, because I will still have it for sure. I just need to go back and all that stuff and look. Yes, Professor Pug, there are good ones. out there. There are some really, really awesome law enforcement officers, and God bless them. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let me ask you a question. Do you know anyone who has been wrongfully, and I'm not going to say convicted, went to prison. Do you know anybody personally who has been wrongfully accused, even, of a crime they did not commit? I do. It's crazy sometimes how easy you can be accused or convicted of something, and then the burden of proof is on you to prove that you didn't do it. It's like, why can somebody say something and they have no proof? It's not like they've got video and pictures. Why can somebody hire an attorney and go to the police and say so and so did this to me, and then all of a sudden, like, you're the one, like, you're sitting around there like, I literally was sitting here eating popcorn and watching a movie that night. I wasn't, but why is it so easy to accuse somebody and then it's their burden to have to prove they didn't do it? That has bothered me for years. I didn't know how easy it was to cause trouble for someone. I mean, I understand. I'm all for people being convicted of crimes that they're guilty of, but it should be a little bit harder. You should have to have some kind of evidence. That's just my opinion. When I had the lady about corruption in Kokomo, that was Michelle Barton. So I don't know how to email. So where did you put it? Was it in a chat? Was it in one of the comments on that video? Okay. All right. Yeah, I can go back. Yeah, the Kokomo lady she's not there anymore. Was Michelle Barton. Absolutely. All right. So, how this relates to Richard Allen? Well, I mean, it happened in Elkhart several times. And, Leon Benson was saying, he knew other people that were also innocent and sitting there. So my question is, could this have happened in Delphi, or is it just completely off the table? I mean, come on. There's so much, and the reason why I'm laughing is there's so much corruption there. I was just having this conversation about this one's uncle, this one's daddy, this one, like the list goes on and on and on, of the things that have been corrupt, and the unalivings, we've talked about that before. So this is why when people have a problem with just buying into Richard Allen is 100% guilty, he's the guy on the bridge because L.E. said he was the guy on the bridge. He was there at this time because L.E. said he was there at this time. Well, actually, look at the affidavit. No, they didn't. They didn't say that at all. But, and Richard Allen didn't say, look, let's get the right guy, okay? Can we just get the right guy? Or the right guys? I will never believe this was done by one person. Can we get the right people? Yeah. Keith, very true. It's so sad Indiana has so much corruption. Yeah, it is. But there's a lot of, and it's not, there's a lot of groups responsible for this, okay? We'll just leave it at that. All right. Tell me what you think. If you can think of any other cases, let me know. For just a couple of things, I'm trying really, really hard. I'm going to try to do a members only on Sunday night when I get off work, if I can possibly get it together. So please, I'll probably put a poll up. What y'all want to talk about? Tell me what you want to talk about. Got some new members. What do you want me to cover? And then also, for those of you who watched me and Brain Bungle last week, I was trying so hard to get him back on last night, but he had stuff to do, and I don't know whether we're going to be able to do it next Thursday. Unless my schedule changes, I wouldn't even be able to go live until probably 9:30 at night. Everybody'd be going to sleep. So either we'll do a really late show or wait for another week, unless somebody decides they want to work the night shift next week. That would be awesome if they did. Yeah, so I have that. Of course, the Delphi Circus, always. Still looking at some stuff on Riley Strain, but I'm kind of at a standstill at this point because I think I've kind of laid out everything that I know or that we know to this point until we get toxicology, until we get a hold of the second autopsy report. It's like I said what I said, and I feel like I feel. And unfortunately, we're going to have to wait. However, I keep seeing more and more missing males. This is bothering me, y'all. This is really bothering me. For years, and I'm not saying there aren't missing women and children, but I'm not looking just in Tennessee. I'm looking across the United States. And people who are going missing right now, we're like, it's like an onslaught of missing 20s, 20-year-olds, maybe early 30s, but missing guys that are just vanishing. And there's more missing men that I've seen come up in the last month than there are women and children. And I don't know what is going on. That is very weird to me. I mean, just comparatively over the years. So, what are your thoughts about that? Yeah. So I've got so many things in my head coming up. I do have to work a lot next week, so I'm going to try to throw some things in there. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little while. If you're watching on the replay, you think of a case that you want me to go over, or you know anything about other cases in Indiana, I'm going to say this. Let me make one big statement for you, Carroll County. If you screw this up, okay? If you screw up this Richard Allen case, and he is convicted, and he spends years in prison, and it's overturned, because you can bet your bottom dollar there's going to be an appeal. If he is convicted, they're going to go straight to appeal. They're going to have at least enough for one appeal, if not two or more, with all of the circus antics that have been done in this case already. So just, strap yourself in the chair. You might as well be on the Delphi train for a while. I'm going to try not to be. However, Carroll County, you better really think about this hard, because this isn't a case. I feel like you thought when you arrested him, you could sweep this all under the rug, that you could, say, okay, this guy is guilty, and we've got the right guy. He's going to trial. If you ever thought, there's a lot of speculation. Did you actually think that there was going to be a trial? Because I've heard so many people say no, that Nick McClelland, the prosecutor, if you don't know, that he never thought there would be a trial. He thought that Richard Allen would just confess and, he'd be, sentenced, whatever. It would be buried. Some people still wonder if there's going to be a trial. And I think when a lot of people, when Richard Allen didn't immediately confess within the first few months that he was there, with the pressure he was under, that is when a lot of people felt like he was going to be unalived. And we saw how close, man, you see the state that he was in and the stuff that has come out and the conditions and his mental state. You could definitely see where that could have happened. So a lot of people are really surprised that we've gotten this far. I kind of am. But here's the thing that you probably did not consider, Carroll County, is that not all creators and people and residents we're going to buy into your load of BS. I don't think that you thought that people were going to actually think for themselves or look at the documents or look at the evidence, look at the timeline, look at all of this stuff and say, this ain't adding up for me. I mean, I'm no math major, but, I can do basic math. And it ain't doing. It just ain't. Yeah. I don't think that they expected this. So, Carroll County, if you do get that conviction that you so badly want, and it is appealed and overturned, and Richard Allen ends up on this list of people who have been exonerated, I hope you've got your checkbooks open, because believe you me, he is going to sue the pants off of Carroll County, especially for the shenanigans that y'all have already, before trial, pulled. So just go ahead, and when you think about it, you need to designate into your 401k. You need to just go ahead and make a separate little pile, because this is going to be coming out of that. Your taxes are going to go through the roof. Go ahead and designate that RA money because of the stuff that's already gone on. So, you may have another few years, but just go ahead. You're going to have to write that check. Better start the budget now. No more $80,000 buys of property from the mayor that nobody approved, that was way overpriced. Y'all know, if you've been watching me, you know what I'm talking about. People, mayors, city council, people just buying property there without any approval, and just writing lawyers' names on it, saying, oh yeah, he signed it, he signed the deed, and the attorney's like, oh no, I didn't. I don't know what the heck that is. I never did this. Look into it. So while you're out there writing checks for ridiculous things, and, make sure you put that in the budget. All right? Just trying to give you some financial advice, right? You can consider me the Dave Ramsey. I can't even say that with a straight face. All right. Yeah. Right. Okay. I'm going to shut up now. But I hope you enjoyed this. Think about it. Think about the history. We've done the culture, corruption of culture. What was the name of that video? Whatever. History of corruption. Now let's look at the surrounding places and the state of Indiana. All right. I appreciate you so very much. And please, members, let me know what you want to see. I am going to call it a night. And one more thing. Remember, if you're coming in on the end, remember what I said in the beginning. You want some really good, interesting information, go watch Cold Truth, the episode, the live that was tonight with Crime Geek. Please look at it, because it will explain some of the things that may come up. And I certainly do hope they come up later in the trial. All right. I will see you later. Stay safe, y'all, beautiful people. And whatever you do, just stay silky. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.